That's a cue for all my white men who have issues with women and just men in general. White is a mentality. We're all humans in reality, but when you're a white man mentally, despite whatever color you look like to us, when you're a white man mentally, that means you do not want to be alone. And the only way that looks of not wanting to be alone is constantly needing to project into other people's spaces, other female spaces, other women's spaces. And then you're projecting into these women's spaces with the hopes of making them make you feel something that you feel like you can't feel alone. And all these women are going to have to do is absorb the negative traumatized vibrations that you're running from. So this is why women resonate with me way more than men, kinda forever, because women are water. So this is why I really had to make this message very point blank, very clear every time, because a lot of my trauma has come out of dealing with this water, dealing with the universe, dealing with the chaos that I can't control outside of myself based on how I am in control of how I communicate. So now I have to be more hyper conscious of how I communicate based on how it affects things that I can't control. So this is where my wisdom comes from. Here's the wisdom episode. Wisdom is knowing that you're only in control of how you communicate and how you connect, but you're not in control of how others connect with you and how others connect with your communications and how others communicate into your space. So that's the balance. Like, this is the spidey sense. That's why it's important to be in your serpent spider energy when you're riding the S, when you're riding a sine wave as a body. It's important to be able to know when to speak and when to be silent. It's all about synchronicities like that, because you're creating reality, but reality, life, literally the three is balance. So it's not about always speaking into existence. That's again the white man, where, think about catcalling, literally. Like spiritually, that's what looks like a man catcalling a woman. He wants to speak his desires into existence, and his literal idea of speaking them is not connecting with himself and creating art that allows him to be in resonance with women who he can actually build something with. No, his idea of speaking his desires into existence looks like shouting at a woman she has a fat ass. See the difference? Right? We know, like, it's all about the caduceus, literally. It's all about using your serpents, using your ability to create, to wrap around your own soul, to wrap around your own tea repeatedly, so that you can grow your own garden. You can cultivate your own fruits, and those fruits, that air is what you share through your bird as you fly into simulations. And now you look like a snake, because we look like snakes when we enter water, but the fact is, when we're consciously entering water, we can be a bird because we know that we're communicating our desire to connect into existence. And that's what Mercury is here to teach you. That's what Mercury is here to show you, that we are communicating our souls into existence. That's what 23 is. Where are you? The universe. You are able to experience and manipulate five cycle reality, because you are communicating your feeling of being connected into existence. That looks like using these lights, using all these forms, and definitely not being alone, because nothing is possible alone, aka you are possible alone. You can do anything alone as nothingness in your own imagination. But once you step out into life, it's all contracts and agreements, all based on feelings, all based on water, all based on connections. Your body can only communicate as far as it connects. That's why you can only move the cells that are nourished by your blood. Your blood is the physical manifestation of your fluid, your ability to connect. This is why it's important to make sure that your blood is as clean as possible, so your body can connect as clearly as possible, and why you wouldn't want to get injections, or especially not mandatory jabs into your bloodstream that are full of heavy metals, because those are completely doing the opposite. I have a friend, and she has friends. So multiple friends through her. But this is one friend that I have who told me about all of her friends and her. She sent me photos of how they didn't even get the injection. They just got the test. And just getting the test, the swab up the nose, she could put a magnet on her nose. Like, the people in her life can put magnets on their nose and the places where they got tested and shot. She didn't get shot, but just from getting the test, they put heavy metals in her body. They put magnetized heavy metals up into her nose, and she was able to literally put a magnet on her face after her test, because her test was mandatory for her to keep working, of course. Luckily, she's a quite healthy girl, so she's detoxing, and she said that she feels like she's detoxed a lot of the heavy metals out because she can't put the magnet up there as much anymore. But that took detoxing, like intentional detoxing. So all the people who've gotten that test and aren't detoxing, and they're just living in cities and like continuously ingesting and getting more metals inside of them, their bodies are getting destroyed. Like, the more metal that you get pumped into your bloodstream, the less your cells are able to communicate. And especially when that metal is reacting to all the technology around you, like, you're having heavy metals inside of you that are reacting to all the high frequencies of the technology that is also metal, because that's how the metal got here. It's from the technology around you. That's creating disease. That creates disharmony in the cells of the body and discord. So everything being underwater is transforming. This is where we get to have the wisdom of knowing that spirits are creating physical reality underwater, under a double U. All because you, as an individual spirit, feel like getting connected with a spirit, with a space outside of yourself, because you don't want to be in control of everything. Being in control of everything is a very lonely existence. Like, literally, when you're in control of everything, that means that you are alone. So the whole point of us as spirits, all of us, creating the universe, is that we are choosing to not be in control of everything. And that is what physical reality is. Us not being in control of everything. So you can manipulate physical reality, you can exert your control over it, but you can't be in control of everything, because physical reality is being created by all of us. Okay, so this is for everyone who literally believes that we are all extensions of one God. Like, you literally can't believe that when you're tapping into the root of the symmetry and you actually see the subconscious natures behind the English alphabet. W is literally showing us that all of us as individual yous are connecting to a collective you that we are not in control of. All of life, every single thing in any realm of reality, in any life, anywhere, shape, or form, is about you getting in control of yourself. And that's what tripling your C is all about. Communicating with yourself in a way that is 3 times 3. It's not just air, but it's air times air, which is now you realize with your realize. Realize with your realize. Becoming a 9-dimensional being. Because then what's after 9? Boom, hermetic heaven. Really easy. Now you can create heaven because you realize that you are creating your vibration. You're creating 8, which is the universe. But in terms of 5 is physical reality. So that's where the universe is the number 8 and 5 is physical reality. And physical reality is always dying. So that's what death is. Physical reality is always transforming. That's why your body is moving. Imagine if your body wasn't transforming. Imagine if you didn't grow up, right? Like, imagine if your body didn't grow in general. Like, it doesn't make sense. It does not. There'd be no sense there. we can point towards sense and see that none of it is found, actually. So no matter how much we point towards sense, in this context, it won't be found. If you're trying to think about a physical reality where nothing changes, the point is nothing changes. So even like that phrase where nothing changes is a paradox inside of itself, because spirits change. Like, there's no way that you're about to create a physical reality and then be there forever. That's actually truly impossible. Because the fact is that physical reality was not there forever. So you see why all light must exit, like everything must die. It's not about ending. It's about the fact that you're transforming. And you transform from one state, and you're going to transform into another state. And that's what it's all about, transforming from state to state. And you're using light to do that. So before this body, you were a lighter body. And now you're using this body to transform heavier. And then that's what it looks like to grow up and become a bigger human. You get bigger muscles, bigger bones, bigger organs, bigger everything. And then over the time you get older, perhaps when you get older, you get smaller. And that's, you on the process of becoming lighter again, even as you get older. And then as you get lighter, you die. And that's you taking all of your water from your body back to your spirit, back to your water. And really just taking all the light from your body that really matters. Because that's what it means, like when monks and people in general die by transforming their body into a light body and dematerializing. And then that's where the Bible talks about Jesus doing that. Like, this is what we're talking about here. You more consciously transforming your body back into your circumstances so that you can take more of yourself with you based on how light you become. So this is the highest wisdom. Welcome to the symmetry. Welcome to Mercury. Honestly, this podcast has quickly just become, this recording has quickly become better than the last one. I actually just packed in everything in a less flowery way. And now we have more time for me to chill out some of my trees and build upon what I've just more concisely laid out in this short time than the last recording. Because truly, when I'm doing these podcasts, like, this is my opportunity to let my mind fly and, like a bird, talk about what I'm seeing. So this is literally like the STU. So my S is my body, my T is my soul, and my U is my mind. So this is where then it's about the circle, because my mind is creating my body, yet my mind is also flying and not my body. But it is creating my body based on how it feels like connecting with this simulation. So then that's where I'm using my soul to pay attention to this world, and now my mind can communicate through my soul into this world to build a body and transform that body. And this is how we build physical reality with that 23, that water, that wisdom of the universe, that feeling like connecting and communicating that feeling like connecting in a way that creates an air-water cycle. And all of us doing that together as spirits creates the universe. So all of our fires are completely separate, but we're creating water from our fire, and then we're communicating that water. So that 23 is the universe. All simulations are the 4. That's what we know from the vibration, 22 being 4. 23 is about physical reality, and how all of physical reality, all of physical reality is underwater. It is underneath the double U. You as a spirit must create physical reality. You must transform inside of physical reality if you want to connect with other spirits. Otherwise, you're all in your own spaces. So this is like the essence of you being God. Again, like you are completely in control of your own circumstances. You're in control of your own imagination and your own soul. It's just then when you want to connect with other gods, you have to create a circumstance where you're not in control of everything. And that's what we've learned with the vibration in the 22nd episode, where now we can relate all on being victims. Like Black people, indigenous people, we can relate on being victims of global genocide and global slavery and the global brutal sex trafficking of our children, our women, and our men, just all of us, and how that has done nothing but profit everyone who worships money. Like, we can relate on that. The sexual, violent, dehumanizing abuse of indigenous people has made capitalism thrive. And that's something that we can all learn from now in this timeline. And because we can communicate about it, that allows us to connect in a way that we otherwise would not be able to if we were not in this situation. So it's not about us creating this situation. We're creating the circumstance to be connected to this situation. But we're all creating this situation. That's why it's all of us together. That's why you can't actually really say what happened in history unless you saw it yourself. If you weren't there yourself, if you weren't observing it yourself, you can't actually know. Like, you're now just repeating someone else's account. And then if someone else's account is a repeat of someone else's account, and then that person's account is a repeat of someone else's account, then now we have a pyramid scheme of lies and history, literally. And that's the point of Hermetic history. Because this is why I built Mercury. I'm chilling on Mercury, and I see a lot. I see simulations rise and fall, on and on and on, just day in and day out, eon after eon. Simulations rise and fall. It's nature. That's the whole point. The simulation wasn't there before, so why would it always be there? The only way that you could have a simulation always there is if you're in complete control of it. So that's what Hermeticism is about. If you want to live in a true heaven, then you have to be the one who's creating that world. Because you are the spirit, like you as a spirit are in heaven when you're alone in your imagination. This is everything that we've learned here. You as a spirit are in heaven when you're alone in your imagination. That's the 10. When your space is connecting with your ego in a way that your ego feels like it's supported by God, by the spirit, you're in heaven. And that's the feeling that you have to carry into hell. So you see how we create hell so that we can create heaven with others. So now you have to show others how you're connected to God, because really you're connected to yourself. And if spirits are lost in hell because they don't want to be connected to themselves and they're just messed up getting lost underwater, then they're drowning in the W. They don't have wisdom, so they're just underwater, not knowing where they are. They're asking these questions. Where am I? What am I? Why am I? When am I? Who am I? And they're just lost, like just very confused. All because they're not connected to themselves to know that they created a body inside of a simulation inside of the universe. And that means that they are space. So this is the point of everything in life being 3. Like we can think of unconsciousness, subconsciousness, consciousness, that space, soul, body. That would be nothingness, darkness, light. And light comes before darkness. But for light to actually be seen and stabilized, it has to come out of your darkness, which is your internal light. And that's what we're talking about with your simulation. Your situation is forever. Your ability to connect with yourself and your feelings of connecting with yourself are forever. Anything outside of that is not forever. So that's why anything you pay attention to, like you pay attention to this body, you pay attention to the body that you're in so that you can grow and do what you want to in said body. But you know that that body's not forever because, I mean, you were not alive in that body before. Like there was a time where you were not in that body. So you could not be in that body forever. The whole point is that you've specifically created this body at a specific point in time so you can communicate in a specific way. And that's the whole essence of me as symmetry, just teaching how gods play. Like this is the most divine way. Like this is the most divine truth. Like truly on how we create simulations. How do we as individual spirits that are all infinitely powerful create the situation where we can connect with each other? This is how we make it relatable. Creating physical reality inside the universe where we can all feel like victims because we're all inside of bodies that are at the whim of circumstances outside of ourselves. And now we all have to play by the same rules. And because we have to play by the same rules, now we all feel like we are the same. Now we all feel similar. Now we feel like we can relate because we have to do the same things. And now our ability to communicate is limited to the rules. And then that allows us to relate even more. Because when people are talking about the rules, now you can learn about who wants to follow the rules versus who wants to break the rules. How do you want to follow the rules? What kind of rules are these? Or do you even want to play the game in the first place? This is the whole point. Like in any simulation, any situation, we build a game so that we can now figure out more about ourselves inside the game. So life is a video game. That's just where, I mean, people love video games because it's simulated life. Like you're manipulating a character based on your thoughts and feelings. Sounds like what you're doing with this body so that you can even believe that this video game matters. Like this video game is just pixels of light on a screen. So you literally had to get lost in some kind of education system and indoctrination to even know how to categorize all the things that you're seeing on screen so that they do matter in a way that you feel like engaging with them enough to get whatever dopamine burst that you're getting from accomplishing what you should be accomplishing in your actual real life body. So that's how, I mean, perfect example of video games being how spirits weaponize the basic fact of how we create life to make us create life for them. And then of course all these video games, they only get better how? The more they can replicate the video game we're already in. Like we're already in a video game right now. We're already in virtual reality. But video games are better and better the more realistic they look, the more relatable they look, the more they look like what we're creating right now. So it's just mimicking. It's literally all macro, micro technology. Spirits using technology to do what they're already doing right now. And then we're just constantly manipulating physical reality so that we can do what we already created physical reality to do, which is to connect. And then you get Mark Zuckerberg with Facebook Meta up here like, we know people love to connect. As Facebook Meta, we're getting put on blast for all these allegations of how we sell your data and completely disrespect your privacy. But we know that your desire to connect is greater than your desire to actually hold us accountable for disrespecting you. So come join us in our virtual reality where we're just going to Black Mirror life you. Man.